Madeline Kahn didn't just make people laugh, she made them lean in, because behind that voice, that timing, and that perfect look of panic, there was always something she wasn't saying.
You play actually mistress, the sister of the president's wife who kind of becomes the mistress in the White House, right?
No.
We don't call it that?
I don't. Oh, my goodness. No, I don't know.
That word seemed to startle you.
Well, that suggests.
Well, you're not running for political office or anything, I mean.
Well, my goodness. No, mistress.
No.
Do you mean no?
No.
Even a correction became a performance.
I can swim and dance and run and all sorts of things that don't involve.
As long as you don't play water polo.
I won't be doing that. I like to watch.
I can't remember in my entire life, ever before, mentioning water polo and getting reactions.
Must be a team.
Must be here for the summer Olympic Festival?
South Women.
What?
The South Women's team.
Oh, the women's team. Water polo team is here?
Yeah.
Well, good for you. My goodness.
And 4 years later, Carson still couldn't quite predict where she would take him. At the end of this video, you'll understand what she was protecting and why almost no one knew until a month before she died. Before Madeline Kahn ever sat beside Johnny Carson, she had trained to use her voice in a very different way. At Hofstra University, she trained as a singer and was supposed to be a serious soprano. She became, almost by accident, one of the most distinctive comic voices in American film. She didn't just tell jokes, she played the panic underneath politeness, the little tremble behind good manners, the moment a woman tries to stay composed while everything inside her is going sideways. That was her gift. Paper Moon earned her an Academy Award nomination in 1973. The next year, she made Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein and turned Lili Von Shtüpp and Elizabeth into something American comedy hadn't quite seen before, a performer audiences laughed at and somehow trusted. 14 years later, she walked onto Johnny Carson's couch for the first time. It was October of 1987. Reagan was in his second term. The country was watching the Robert Bork hearings, and Madeline Kahn had just sat down across from Johnny Carson for the first time in her life. Within 90 seconds, the conversation went somewhere no one in the studio expected.
First grade?
Yeah.
That's about
Tito,
6.
his name was.
Tito?
Yes.
Later on, they went to Yugoslavia? Is that the same? Tito? Marshal Tito of Yugoslavia later on.
No, of course not. Tito.
Latest entry is Supreme Court nominee. I'm just throwing that in.
That fall, Madeline was in Los Angeles filming a new CBS sitcom called Mr. President, opposite George C. Scott. She had rented a house she didn't entirely understand.
Bedroom, but it's very unexciting. So it's really for one person or a couple. And yet there are every sort of bathroom equipment. There are several bathrooms with every sort of spray and spigot and bidet and urinal and showers and bath. I mean, it's like meant for several people to, I don't know.
Could this have been a house of ill repute you rented or one time?
If you miss the kind of television where a conversation could surprise you, subscribe. We bring new stories every week. Comic actresses of Madeline's generation followed an unspoken rule. The character could say anything on screen. The woman herself, in interviews, on award shows, on television couches, performed wholesome, eager, pleasant, never quite herself. Madeline was 45 that fall. She had never married, no children. For more than a decade, she had kept her private life almost completely out of the press. A few minutes into the conversation, she broke the rule.
If somebody asked you a direct question, would you tell them the truth? Would you lie to people? Or do you just tell what's on your mind?
I lie.
Do you? You call them so... In other words, if somebody says, what do you think of this dress, and it's a dog, you say, it's just lovely.
Johnny did something rare. He didn't rush past it. He let the room sit inside the answer, and Madeline kept going.
Sometimes you can tell the truth, but very often it's not a good idea. It doesn't accomplish anything so much of the time. And why tell the truth? Because what is the truth anyway? If you don't think it's a pretty dress, does that mean it's not a pretty dress? You know, I mean, really.
I guess
so
not.
What's the truth, you see? Why bother to tell it half the time?
You would be good in political office.
Very good idea.
You've got it down. You've got it.
Johnny saw what was happening. The joke about political office was the giveaway. He could feel that she meant it. And then a hand signal interrupted them.
Get her off.
No. You see, now this, you see, this shows you, I've learned more about you right now with that simple statement. You're insecure. You see, right away, I said some waving, and you took that whole thing around. Not that we have to go to a commercial, but I'm not doing well. Right?
I was being honest then. Now that was the truth.
5 minutes earlier, she had told Johnny she lied. Now she was claiming a single moment as the exception. Johnny took the opening and went somewhere riskier. He asked about marriage, and the room held its breath.
Men that I really enjoy as people and who I like at the present time fall into 3 categories. One, they're much younger than I am, much too young. Or they're married, or they're gay.
That kind of eliminates a lot of categories.
It really...
Johnny had been doing this for 25 years, and he had never quite heard a woman answer that question like that. And then she went further.
What it feels like to me is that I simply skipped over those first 2 marriages, which would have been so unpleasant and would have been over by now. And I'm ready for that third, very pleasant one.
Right. Not a bad idea. It's called the Kahn skip a generation marriage.
Yeah, I said, this is going to be very deflating, and I'm going to just skip it.
That was the woman on Johnny's couch in October of 1987. 3.5 years would pass before she came back. After another short-lived television role on the sitcom Mr. President, Madeline moved on. She made a film with Alan Alda, then returned to Broadway. Back to quieter work, smaller rooms, and audiences close enough to feel every pause. By the summer of 1991, she was touring with Love Letters, a 2-person play about a man and woman who loved each other across 40 years. Night after night, she sat across from another actor and spoke about love, timing, and the moments people leave between words. And by then, Johnny Carson had not seen her in 3.5 years. On July 18, 1991, Madeline walked back through Johnny's curtain. He stood up to greet her, and within minutes, he was asking a strange question.
I do not like balls coming toward me.
I think that's called testophobia.
Madeline barely laughed. The audience laughed for her. She was talking about a fear, but somehow it sounded like a small confession about hesitation and the pressure to get things right.
If I see a ball coming toward me, I have no inclination to hit it. I simply want to step aside and let it continue going.
Johnny stayed with her. He asked about her voice, the way it jumped octaves in the middle of a sentence. Then he told her it was the kind of voice made for opera.
Well, you're supposed to. I don't like being regimented. I think your voice should be able to go all over the place if it wants to, and there shouldn't be a correct way of speaking.
5 words, from a woman trained to do the opposite. Years earlier, Madeline had sung Cunegonde in Leonard Bernstein's Candide. She had the range, she had the training, but opera demanded control. Madeline wanted freedom.
I love to sing, and I love to use my voice in strange ways. And when you sing opera, which I somehow could do,
Right.
You have to be correct. And that made me a little nervous.
Yeah.
What Madeline said next was the closest she ever came to explaining why she had walked away from it. I somehow could do. 3 words to wave off a life of training. That night would be her final appearance on Johnny's couch. 8 years later, she would face something she chose not to explain. Through the 1990s, Madeline Kahn kept working. She won a Tony for The Sisters Rosenzweig, appeared in Mixed Nuts, and later joined Cosby as Pauline, the warm, funny owner of a neighborhood bookstore. That was the life the public saw. But in September 1998, while filming Cosby, Madeline was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She told almost no one. She went through treatment quietly and kept coming back to work. On October 6, 1999, she married John Hansberry, her partner of 10 years. The ceremony was in a hospital. Her voice had been reduced to a but for 2 words. It came through loud and clear. "I do." Weeks later, she finally let the public in. She told them she was sick only a month before she died. By December 3rd, she was gone. She was 57. 2 Oscar nominations, a Tony Award, Lili Von Shtüpp, Elizabeth, and a private life she protected until the very end. Years earlier, she had told Johnny Carson she lied about the small things, the dresses, the pleasantries, the careful conversations of public life. But the big things, she kept to herself.